You don't want to do more. You'll finish. Your general.
Thank you, Heiko. Great debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Piers Corbyn!
Hello.
Whose is this?
Is that yours?
Shall we start straight away or give people a couple of minutes? Are we all right?
Start straight away. We've got a crowd.
Start straight
It's
away.
getting dark, don't forget, early as well.
Getting dark. Well, fantastic to be here on Speaker's Corner. The first day after the change of clocks, back to normal time, Greenwich Mean Time. And I want to say we've got to abolish clock changes. It's a complete nonsense. We live in a 24/7 world and they change clocks to just control you and confuse you, and it causes more accidents on roads, upsets children and upsets animals because their feeding times change.
It really causes accidents on
Yes.
roads.
Okay, well today I want to talk a bit about the way forward in the great movement against the World Economic Forum and all the plunder and killing they're doing now. We're going to talk both about Palestine and about zoning, ultra low emission zone. These are the two great campaigning issues of our time in the UK. And the Palestine is the defining moment of the world as we speak. Right, we first of all know from last time, the Iraq War, that parades are not enough. Just like I would say,
in a circle.
they go in circles, yes. Just like the last speaker said, he wanted to wish away the problems of capitalism by just wishing what it would be like. Businesses who don't make more profits than the others. Well, it doesn't work because those who don't make more profits than the others go bust. That's what the free market does. So wishing things doesn't do what you want unless you have a means. Just like my brother organising 2 million people last time to oppose the Iraq war, Tony Blair said thank you and I'm going to kill anyway, and he did. The same will happen now over Palestine unless we take matters to our own hands, and there are forces involved. For example, if the Russians and Chinese make it clear that they're not going to tolerate what's going on, it would stop. The other thing is we have to do action on the ground which will make a difference. And that applies to ULEZ as well, all of these things. And I think the greatest example of practical work on the ground now to prevent the tools of New World tyranny being forced upon us is in fact in ULEZ. Drive at will, do not pay, take down the cameras. That is working. We can win piece by piece. For example, we have our superb Telegram group, ULEZ Can't Pay, Won't Pay, where there's practical examples of what to do. If you get your car clamped, it shows you there exactly what to do to how to remove the clamp. Very simple, go there. ULEZ Can't Pay, Won't Pay. There's 100 people online all the time on ULEZ working out practically what to do. And let's be clear, it does work. I myself had a charge of £51,000 and they took my car. I bought it back for £850 and I'm driving still and they've got rid of the £51,000. It's fine, it's gone, it's spent. Thank you very much. But for anyone else, let's be clear. If you change the ownership of your vehicle, they cannot charge you. They send the demands to the owner says I'm not driving, and then they've got to come to you. And they knock on your door and ask for a fridge worth £61,000. Yes, 61, not 51. And you don't open the door. That's the end of it. They can only visit you 3 times and then they've got to go. That's the end of it. So, because the Northampton County Court does not have powers of entry. It's a fake court. And you break the ULEZ rules, it will not affect your credit rating and you will not get a CCJ because it's not a proper court. So don't worry, just do it. But of course there's other people, politicians, who just want you to join the circus and say, oh, we'll get elected and we'll abolish it. They lie, and what else do they do? Lie! The Tories are saying they would stop ULEZ extension, but they'll keep the cameras. So what are the cameras really for? They are to control you in everything you do. Not just about travelling. It's going to be about what you owe in the bank, what you owe somebody. They'll cut off your money unless we have cash. Keep cash, keep cash, keep cash, keep cash, keep cash.
Keep cash.
As another of the legs of the New World Order we have to deal with. Okay. Which understand all the legs of the New World Order. We have to get across to people doing ULEZ and all the other zoning and Palestine what is behind it all. Namely, we have the banner here. Resist the invasion of Gaza. It's not a war, it's genocide. It's what the New World Order wants. We have to take down the World Economic Forum and all its sidekicks. And we have to propagate understanding of the 6 legs of the New World Order. Number 1, stop the virus con. Number 2, stop the climate con. And man-made climate change is a complete pack of lies. And the idea that the planet is in chaos because of the tiny amount of CO2 that man produces is complete nonsense. Absolute complete nonsense. Would you care to guess, of all the living carbon in the world, what proportion of that is due to mankind? I can tell you, trees are 45% of living carbon. Amoeba and, all sorts of things, bacteria are about 25%. Mankind's contribution to living carbon on this planet, I'm not talking about carbon dioxide, I'm talking about your bodies, is 0.01%. The idea that we are changing the whole world is ridiculous. It's complete nonsense. Man's CO2 contribution is 4% of the total CO2 flux. Man is doing very little. You believe there's a lot of people because they're going in little places. Go into space and look at the world. It's mostly forest and sea. Not a sight of humans anywhere. Understand that. Okay, so Palestine. Let us be clear. What is going on there? For a start, the attack on Israel was an organised fake event which would have included some genuine Hamas soldiers who believe they're doing good. But understand, Hamas was started and funded by Israel in order to create conflict within Palestine. They said so. Netanyahu is quoted in speeches saying so. They opened the gates, let in these people who were going to take away prisoners and let them out again. That's what they did. They made fake stories about beheadings. They were all complete lies. CNN acted. I've seen films of CNN acting and then they cut out the instructions bit. It's a complete lie. It was prepared in order to raise the Israeli population into hysteria to justify an invasion. And of course that invasion is not just for a greater Israel, it's to take the oil. This year oil was found underneath Gaza. We've been there before. Iraq, oil, that's what it's about. So, the talk of war as well is another con. It's not a war, it's a genocide. There are no sides in genocide. Any politician who talks about war is doing so because he wants to support one side, namely the Israeli war machine. And let's understand what this Israeli war machine is doing. The population of Gaza average age is 17 years old. When an Israeli warplane is dropping bombs to look for some Hamas fighter who's allegedly down on the ground somewhere, they are wantonly killing women and children. That is what it's about. It is genocide. It is genocide. It's just chant that. It's not war, it's genocide. It's not war, it's genocide. It's not war, it's genocide.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, afterwards.
If you don't mind, because I need to go soon.
Well,
All I
yes,
wanna know
we
is
are.
Those 3 hours. No, it's a good question. It's with this.
Him ask.
Well, quickly, come on, do it.
Okay. Those 3 hours when those so-called look, Israel has an Iron Dome.
Yeah, I know.
Has surveillance.
I know.
Has army
Yeah, but come
all
on,
around
we
the
know it.
West.
What's the question? Yeah, that's enough.
Where were they
We know.
in those 3 hours?
Okay,
Where were they?
That's okay, we'll press on. It was a fake invasion. They allowed it happen. It's not a war, it's genocide. Now, what can we do though to practically fight back? We have to hit them where it hurts. I mentioned the Russians and Chinese need to be involved. But here, instead of just a parade, you know, the Grand Old Duke of York, he marched his 10,000 men up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. That is what the Labour movement does to its people. They do not want you to stop anywhere. They do not want you to occupy bridges. They do not want you to be effective. They want you to pray to some stupid, double-dealing, lying, thieving, probably paedophilic politician in order to save you. They will never save you. No politician is going to save you. Not a single one. Not even my brother. He's not going to save you. Only saving will come if you take action which has effect. Well, you can do that. You can love Jesus Christ, but he's not going to save you unless you take action. At least one action we can do is effective. Boycott McDonald's. McDonald's give food to the Israeli army. So we say boycott McDonald's, don't buy a murder burger. Don't buy any of that food. If you go in there and pay, you are funding genocide in Gaza. That's what you're doing. So we want McDonald's boycott groups set up in every town, village, wherever there's a burger bar, a Mac burger. Okay, now what about expanding effective action? There will be other things we can do, I'm sure, about any warplanes been sent by the British to help Israel. I don't know. We should find things and be practical. Carry on with the demos, yes. And there's meant to be a mass one on the 11th of November. There was 500,000 yesterday, could be 1 million next time. But the parade itself will not be enough. Now, an interesting thing happening. PSC, Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and others are calling for local groups in every town. I think that's an excellent idea. But even yesterday at the march, they talked about two groups. They talked about PSC and the anti-war or the Stop the War coalition. Right, now that coalition is a united front, or not a united front, a popular front of partial nonsense. Namely, they're scared to admit that in Ukraine the Russians did not start it. It was started by NATO. But they don't want to admit that because it might upset people. Once you build a popular front of nonsense with the other side, you will lose. And my brother is the perfect example of that because he did a U-turn on Brexit against the popular vote and that lost the election. And unfortunately, he's mixed up with the coalition to stop the war. I'm not saying they're saying bad things all the time. They're saying one bad thing, though, as I said, about the role of Russia in Ukraine. Look, we want Russia and China on our side in Palestine. Let's be clear about that. So what should we be doing in the localities? Well, we should set up groups. Now, PSC groups are fine, Palestine Solidarity Campaign, but I know what happens in them. People who go to them say they're full of sectarian arguments because, you know, the Socialist Workers' Party, Socialist Party, this party, that party, the Judean People's Front and the People's Front of Judea, they're all going to be in there arguing their case to recruit. That's all they want to do. Those groups are, most of them, funded partly or got people in them infiltrated by the other side. I was in one of these groups before, International Marxist Group. For 10 years, I was followed by 2 police agents within the International Marxist Group. Please, guys, go away.
Just the sound.
Within the International Marxist Group, the Socialist Workers' Party had even more infiltrators. There's been an inquiry into police infiltration of political groups since 1968. The SWP would not participate because they're so embarrassed at the number of police agents within the SWP. Now you look at the role of these groups now. What do? Do they call for effective action like we just said about McDonald's or other things? Generally speaking, no, they don't. All they'll do is parade people around along with the fake left Labour movement to achieve nothing except a parade up the hill and down again. And then they'll go into these groups to recruit. They want to keep you in the circus. That's clear.
They don't know anything else.
In the circus of Labour, Tory, Green, Lib Dem nonsense. Vote for one, you vote for them all. You get the same result. So what I suggest we do in every locality, set up groups, we call it United Front groups, like name an area. Hounslow, United Front. Harlow, United Front. Birmingham, United Front. And within that, you can get anyone who agrees with the, it's not a party, just a front of all people agreeing. Our United Front 12 points, men are men, women are women, man-made climate change doesn't exist, you know them by now. Set up United Fronts in each town and city and deal with what you can. Boycott a burger, boycott the Mac burger. Boycott other shops of relevance. And also, through that, do united action against the zonings. No LTNs, no ULEZ type, no zoning nonsense. And every big town now is people fighting on zoning nonsense. If we unite them around a united front, around those principles, it would exclude the nonsense parties, like SWP and all those, believe in man-made climate change. Man-made climate change is a fake narrative, an agenda from the World Economic Forum. Once you believe that, you're never going to stop zoning, because they say zoning is to save the planet. And most people, if they follow that, especially when their so-called revolutionary leaders are following it, will not win. They will be ground into defeat. And there's other things we can do locally. No injection programs. We've got to end all the injections. And we've got to be ready for the next lockdown or lock-up or whatever they call it. What have we got to do? Take to the streets! Take to the streets! Take to the streets! And who will be the main aim to deal with, apart from Mac Burger? It'll be the council, the town hall. Take over the town halls. I'm serious. There's at least 10,000 people in every borough who've marched, against the New World tyranny. Those people, 1/10 of them turning up will be enough to take over a town hall. Let's be clear. Take over the town halls. Use those as organising centres. And we can win. We completely outnumber the other side. And the last point I would make about their big ideology behind it all. Apart from climate, they've got this idea there's too many people in the world. Well, I've already told you, man's living carbon is only 0.01% of the world. But how many people could live in the world? How many? Well, I'll tell you that the sea, as it's we treat the sea like nomads. We could farm the sea a lot more. You can put ferrosulfate on the surface of the sea. It makes the sea fertile, grows algae, seaweed and all that, and then the fish multiply. And you can get loads of tuna from this. It's a fantastically effective way of doing it. And a company was set up to do this and go to various islands and tell the people what to do. That company was closed down at gunpoint by agents of the WEF and the mega corporation. They do not want the world to be fed. They want to control you and reduce world population. And the living space in the sea is 300 times that on the land. 300 times. You could grow more fish easily. The world could support at least 300 times the current population. But of course, the WF wouldn't have a clue to how to control that unless we're all, wired up with things on our brains and so forth. That's why they want world depopulation. So let's be clear. The world could be, as I said, 300 times bigger world population, and the idea of too many people in the world is a complete, utter, absolute lie.
That's great.
Thank you very much for that. And I think we'll end then by three things to say. One is set up local United Front action groups, like your town United Front, and bring in anybody that supports the 12 principles. That is pretty straightforward. Next one to say, save Gaza, save Gaza, save Gaza. And the next one about the idea of the United Fronts, really we should say, let the world live. Let the world live. Let the world live. And, as we always say, resist,
Defy, do not comply.
resist,
Defy, do not comply.
resist, defy, do not comply.
Piers
Thank you,
Corbyn.
thank you, thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Do you think the attacks in Israel actually happened? I saw a video of you yesterday saying that the attacks in Israel, so-called Israel, Zionist entity, didn't actually happen. Was that you? I saw a video. The man looked just like you. He said that CNN was making it all up.
Oh,
but it's not true.
CNN did make up some
Yeah,
film,
so all this
They opened the gates
raping
and
and
let
like
people in.
murdering people in their beds.
Beheading, how many beheadings?
Yeah, killing babies,
How many beheadings?
kidnapping babies.
How many
None of
beheadings?
it happened.
How many beheadings were there?
The
How many
Israeli
beheadings?
government,
I have no idea.
the
IDF
Israeli
said
government,
government, yeah.
listen, said it didn't happen.
The Israeli government said it didn't
Said there
happen.
were no beheadings of babies.
I don't think there were any.
completely
I didn't
untrue.
mention any beheadings. Did I
I
say
just
beheadings?
asked. Just asked about it.
Beheadings.
Were there
I
any
heard the
beheadings?
word beheadings come out of your
Were
mouth.
there any beheadings?
Don't know.
Did the IDF say there were?
No idea.
Yes, they
certainly
did.
did.
Yes, they did.
Propagate,
So
use that
Piers,
propaganda
he's
all
probably
over.
not as well informed as the IDF.
He said
but
nothing
the IDF
happened,
said
and
that.
there were no murders in the Israeli.
Are there any
settlement.
killings happening in Gaza
No, he
now?
didn't.
There are lots of killings.
How many?
happening in
How
Gaza.
many?
Who knows?
How many?
Who knows?
Is that a good thing?
It's a terrible thing. Every human life is sacred.
Is that right?
Yeah. Duh. Why?
good.
Who do you think I am? Some
I don't
kind of
know. I don't
monster?
know. I don't know. Could be.
Every single death, even of a terrorist, is a terrible thing. Never mind an innocent baby. Yeah, but we're not on the same page if you deny things that happen. What Hamas did in Israel, what
I don't
Hamas
deny
did in
anything.
Israel was an appalling, shameful act.
No question.
Right? It's
No
not no
question.
question. People deny it. He denies
he
it.
didn't deny that.
I saw him on a video this
Well,
morning.
he just
denying
spoke a
it.
minute ago. You didn't listen to what he just said.
Okay,
was a lie.
there
You
were
didn't listen to what he just
1,400
said.
human beings murdered in Israel on the 7th and 8th of October. In your understanding of what happened, I'm asking you a simple
I
question.
doubt if those figures are true.
Okay, were a few hundred? Were a few
don't-
hundred murdered?
I've no idea.
No
but
idea.
I'm saying there was no beheadings of babies.
Okay,
which
okay.
is
Well,
their
we
main
can.
propaganda.
We don't. I don't care if they were beheaded. It's irrelevant.
You don't care if
No,
babies
were
are
their
beheaded or
babies?
not.
Were their
Is that what
families
you're telling
burned
me?
in their rooms?
Well, what's the
I
point?
doubt
What's
it.
the point,
I
my
doubt
friend?
it.
He
What's the
doubts
point?
it.
I do
My
doubt it.
point is, you're letting a man stay.